Tonight, Saskatchewan agrees to a $40 million rare drug plan with Ottawa to improve access and screening. Also, the ripple effect of the California wildfires is being felt in unlikely places, including a junior football tournament in Moose Jaw. Plus, we introduce you to Waldo the corgi, who came to the rescue of his injured owner.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, January the 10th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hi there, thanks for watching. The Saskatchewan government has signed on to a national drug plan with Ottawa. Health ministers from the two regions signed the $40 million agreement on Friday afternoon. For Canada, it's an agreement that Saskatchewan will join the strategy for better screening for rare diseases. For Saskatchewan, the deal will help bolster the province's health coverage for 3 medications. The medications cover 2 forms of cancer and a rare genetic kidney disease.
With these 3 drugs specifically, they affect a fairly small number of patients in the province. So just given that, for privacy reasons, I won't share the specific numbers of these 3 drugs. But again, whether it's 1 patient or 100 patients, when we are able, again, working with the federal government to provide coverage, that eases the pain, eases the burden of cost on that family.
Saskatchewan is the 4th province to join the plan. It follows behind Alberta, Newfoundland and Labrador, and BC. The mayor of Moosomin says his town's plan to offer thousands of dollars in cash to anyone who builds a home there is paying off. The town near the Manitoba border announced the initiative in August to boost development. Moosomin received $1 million from the federal government's Accelerator Fund. The town of 2,600 has many people that work at nearby mines, and rentals are hard to find. Residents can get money for any type of housing, whether a single-family home, a mobile home, basement suite, or an apartment. As soon as a permit is issued, the town gives the builder a check for $30,000 for the first door and $8,000 for each additional door. The mayor says it's resulted in a flurry of construction.
It's had a huge impact. It really has, and coming up with a plan that was unique, that that had some pizzazz to it, certainly helped as well. So there's been really good feedback from developers, especially.
So far, 2 12-unit apartment complexes and a 6-unit building have been issued permits, as well as 2 houses and a basement suite. The town hopes to see 48 new units built to keep up with the current need. Gray says Moosomin will need even more housing built if population growth stays on track. A Saskatchewan man who once led the Canadian Nationalist Party is staying in jail after being convicted of criminal harassment and impersonating a police officer. A jury found Travis Patron guilty in December. Patron had confronted a woman and her 5-year-old daughter outside a Saskatoon hotel in July of 2023. He said he was a police officer and demanded the woman prove she had not kidnapped the little girl. The child came from a mixed-race marriage. Patron has been in custody since 2023. With credit for time served, he still has about 3 months left behind bars. He was also sentenced to 1 year of probation. Turning to the United States, winds fanning the Los Angeles wildfires eased, allowing firefighters to make some progress Friday. But with the 2 largest fires currently described as just 8% and 3% contained, that progress is only beginning. Aaron Collins reports.
Fires have now been burning around Los Angeles for 4 days. The damage done here, unimaginable. The task monumental, taming the fires that continue to burn here. Firefighters on the ground and in the air, working around the clock to beat back the flames threatening Los Angeles. But those fires have already left their mark. Well over 10,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed in the LA area, including thousands of homes.
That's my house and my neighbor's house. There's about 4 houses left on our street, including mine. I've never been traumatized like this in my life.
400,000 people still under evacuation orders and warnings, some waiting to go home in shelters.
But I don't have no neighbors, I seen people fight to keep their houses, and now they're just gone. Like, they fought for years through the pandemic and everything to keep their house, and now it's gone. They don't have nothing. I seen cats, dogs, and everything burning up.
The death toll from these fires is expected to rise from the 10 that have already been reported. Officials warning people to stay away from the evacuation zones.
These measures controlling access, they are necessary. I just want the communities to know they are necessary for public safety and for proper community recovery.
And residents aren't the only ones officials are warning to stay away. More than 20 looters have been arrested. The National Guard brought in to help secure the area.
Looting has zero tolerance. Looting or exploiting in the disaster areas will not be tolerated. Anybody caught looting or committing crimes in the affected areas will be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Canadian water bombers part of this fight. Officials say a super scooper from Quebec was hit by a drone yesterday. The FBI investigating that incident. Of course, the success of the efforts to finally get these fires contained will come down to the weather. There was still a red flag warning relating to the wind here through today, but those winds are expected to die down this weekend. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Pacific Palisades, California.
Back here in Saskatchewan, the fires are also on the minds of players and coaches from a California football team visiting Moose Jaw this week. The Inland Empire Mambas are based out of Moreno Valley, just east of LA, but players have come all the way from Santa Barbara, close to where those fires are burning. The team's head coach says many players' families have been affected, and he says his own uncle lost his house in the fires.
To be honest with you, me and my coaches were talking the other day. It reminds us of the riots, when they had the riots. That's how bad it is. It actually, to see community burnt down like that. Like, I understand Pacific Palisades and the windy areas of the mountains, but like downtown area, the Hollywood sign, very scary. Very, very, actually very, very scary. So I hope everybody back there is safe.
Mahoney says players have done their best to stay focused while also keeping up on the news. He's thankful the fires haven't impacted the immediate Moreno Valley area where their team is based. Stats Canada says our country's economy registered large job gains in December, far exceeding expectations. Education, finance and transportation led the way to a net increase of 91,000 jobs, more than triple what economists had predicted. That lowered the unemployment rate by 0.1%. Public sector jobs accounted for over 40% of the increase. Overall, the employment rate rose, albeit amid slowing population growth for the first time since January of 2023. It's the end of an era for a one-of-a-kind restaurant in Saskatoon. The Cave is being sold to new owners next month. Helena Mahalik takes us inside for a trip down memory lane.
An iconic Saskatoon landmark is being sold. The Cave on 8th Street, with its unique interior, is a well-loved restaurant in the city. It's designed to look and feel like an actual cave, drawing families in for decades. The Cave restaurant opened back in 1973 by the Cosmas family, who still own it today.
The outpouring of support and the way people connected to this restaurant is something that I couldn't even imagine. I really take pride in the fact that it's become so Saskatoon that I think we live in the greatest city in Canada by far, maybe the world, but the fact that we're woven into the city's fabric just makes me immensely proud of it.
George Cosmas says his father immigrated from Greece in the 50s, coming to Canada with nothing. He built a legacy in the city's food scene. Cosmas's father took over the coffee shop at Saskatoon's Old Barrie Hotel, another beloved landmark that no longer exists. He then opened the suburban restaurant on the corner of Idlewild and operated it until it burnt down in 1972. He built the Cave with the help of local architect Jim Parsons.
It's fantastic. Their first time here, you know, walking over that bridge and seeing that water, our little alligator down in there, and seeing it for the first time, it's just awesome. From the front desk, which is only about 10-15 feet away, you hear the gasps and the joy.
Workers say that the Cave holds a special place in their heart and that they'll be sad to see it go.
I was devastated. My coworker and I literally went to the back room and we just started sobbing because it's our home, it's our life, and we love it a lot.
Cosmas says it's unknown if the new owners will continue running the space as it is or if they'll tear down and rebuild. The cave's last day will be February 22nd, with the new owners taking over on March 1st. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Oh, well, winter sure is pretty, and the temperatures are making it much more enjoyable to be outside. Picture perfect frost on those trees, but when on earth are we going to see sunshine again? Rolling into the weekend, it looks like we have some snow to contend with first. Ethan will have all the details in your forecast after the break. Stay with us. The provincial government is still enjoying their winter break, but with the resignation of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump threatening to make Canada the 51st state, it gave our political panel a lot to talk about on the morning edition.
NDP opposition leader Carla Beck came out with this statement pretty quickly after Trudeau's resignation announcement. She says it's time for stability, and she also shares the frustration from Saskatchewan residents, from residents across Canada, that internal politics with the Liberal Party has become the focus when we really should be focusing on more of these pressing issues of these tariffs that President-elect Donald Trump is proposing, the 25% tariff on all Canadian goods. She says that's not good for Saskatchewan's economy, and that's where we should be focusing our attention. She also says we can't wait for the Liberals to get their house in order, and people can't wait for a federal election campaign to be called while all this is coming down the pipe. Now, Premier Scott Moe made his statement about a day later, and he says it's time for the country to go into an election immediately. He says suspending Parliament for the Liberals to select a new leader does not give Canadians the choice they deserve or desire. But he also says Saskatchewan is working on its plans to address these issues, speaking with U.S. counterparts, and also kind of addressing some of those border security issues that Trump has also called for.
And Murray, it's not often that we hear Premier Moe so tight-lipped when it comes to the topic of Prime Minister Trudeau, but a very short statement, as Jeremy alluded to there. What do you make of the reactions from the leaders here in the province?
Well, normally I admire brevity because I don't possess it, but I've never seen a Prime Minister leave office with so little fanfare and so much side eye in terms of his departure. It's bizarre to me, and I think it's sort of reflective, as Jeremy said, of the times, partly because we are in the middle of a crisis, and I don't think there should actually be floats and parades for Justin Trudeau leaving. There's a lot of people who are seeing this as good riddance to bad rubbish, and I think both political leaders, particularly Scott Moe, are picking up on the theme. Probably would have been actually more bizarre for him to say something kind at this point in his career about Justin Trudeau, given Scott Moe's career has fed off hammering Trudeau from day one, and to just watch me comment. Now there's no one to watch in terms of that's going to be the more interesting thing. But I think the silence is actually a good thing because anything provincial politicians add to the problems federally right now is not helpful to the Conservatives, who I think Scott Moe really wants to help. And anything said related to the bigger issue related to tariffs seems equally unhelpful at this particular point. So actually, I kind of admire Scott Moe for basically choosing to not choosing his words carefully.
And Murray, you wrote a column about this. What's your take on how these Trump threats are being handled?
There's only one good thing about it, and we've seen as Canadians have set aside our constant bickering and nastiness that it has become our internal politics to focus on something else, and that's what it is to be Canadian, why this threat should be taken seriously. We're dealing with the most powerful man on earth, or third most powerful, I guess, if now I think about it, when you add in Elon Musk and Putin. You basically are dealing with someone who has the capacity to do significant damage to any other country, and that's beyond economic. He's talking about military threats in relation to Greenland and Panama, which is hugely problematic. Greenland is owned by Denmark, which is a NATO ally. So you have to wonder about the instability that is being created and why it's being created here. Once again, I'm very glad the provincial politicians, to a large extent, are staying out of this and keeping out of the line of fire, because most anything you can add is a bad thing. But everything that people have had has mostly been a good thing. When else do you have Maxime Bernier and Pierre Poilievre and Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau all agreeing on something? And that's a remarkable thing as a Canadian. We can't agree on anything other than the fact that we're not Americans and we often don't like what they do. And sometimes that's important. Sometimes maybe if that's the only definition we have as a national identity, at least we have that, and I think it's important. And from that standpoint, in a weird and twisted way, I think Donald Trump has been a very unifying factor for Canadians.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. You're going to give me snowy news, aren't you?
Sure am. Snow and a whole lot more along with that as well. We got winter coming back. Well, it never really left, I guess, but it is here with us in full force heading into the weekend. Radar and satellite showing that through Friday, we've seen that snow starting to move through the southern half of the province after the north got it overnight. And yes, some mixing happening, some snow and rain moving through western sections of the province. And you can see why, because temperatures much warmer for daytime highs on the western side than they were on the eastern side, nearly 20-degree spread in many locations. And that's because we've had this stationary front which has been in place, bringing a huge spread, especially as you go further northeast in the province. That's where some very cold temperatures have been through the day, and we're about to see those temperatures take a dive overnight Friday into Saturday, with wind chills into the minus 45 range for Wollaston Lake and Collins Bay. That has triggered an extreme cold warning. Go all the way to the opposite end of the province, and we have a snowfall warning in place for locations like Maple Creek and East End and the Cypress Hills. And this is for possibly 20 to 30 centimeters of snow by the time we get to the end of Sunday. Pockets in this area, possibly up to 50 centimeters if you're in that Cypress Hills region where we have kind of that higher elevation. Of course, it's all the result of this low pressure system with a couple areas of lows that have been moving through the southern half of the province. Snow kind of making its way, the bulk of it, overnight early into Saturday for the south and central region. And then Saturday morning, another round of this snow begins to move along the Trans-Canada corridor into western Saskatchewan and areas into the Cypress Hills. And the snow kind of just keeps falling with the higher elevation there as we head into the later part of Saturday. But I think for the rest of us, the snow will kind of come to an end as we head through the afternoon Saturday. And then Sunday, high pressure moves in. That'll clear things out. It'll also make things pretty cold for a lot of us as we head into the back half of the weekend and into the latter part, or into the first part, I should say, of the work week. And then Monday brings a return of some cloud cover, a little bit of snow and some warmer temperatures as that high pressure moves out. So generally 5 to 10 centimeters, again, higher amounts closer to the Manitoba border. And if you're in that southwest corner, that's where that heavy snow is falling in the Cypress Hills region. Probably another 5 centimeters or so if you're closer to the Manitoba border into northern Saskatchewan, places like South End, Pelican Narrows, and Cumberland House. That snow could be blowing, especially as we head into Saturday, with gusts up to 60 kilometers an hour through southern Saskatchewan. They'll start to die off, though, through central and northern regions as that high pressure moves in for Sunday. Still a bit gusty, though, into the southeast corner as we head into the last part of the weekend. So for Regina, after we get a little bit of snow for the first part of Saturday, things clear out, and yeah, they really cool down for Sunday. But we'll have a pretty quick warm-up as we head into the beginning of next week, with the sunshine returning as well. Saskatoon, again, I think morning flurries for you, maybe some breaks of sun by the afternoon Saturday before that cool down comes Sunday, and then the warm up into next week. So we do get the sunshine back, Sam, but we're going to have to pay for it a little bit.
I'm going to have to temper my complaining because I just want the sun.
I know, well, soon enough, I guess.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
If you're looking for a fun show to complement all the wonderful CBC content you consume, how about a fun tale made in the North by Northerners? The first episode of Northern Tales is out. It's a mockumentary starring animals in the boreal forest, and it was created by Yukon Production Company with creative consultation from alumni of the Jim Henson Company. More episodes will be posted to YouTube in the coming days. How cute! We'll be back after the break.
Great to live. Check out my Flap Daddy 5000s!
Hey! A sudden fall on a muddy path, a broken leg needing immediate emergency surgery with unanswered cries for help. That was the prospect facing Jess Parker, but fortunately, she was not alone.
My corgi Waldo saved my life. We're on a routine morning walk and I slipped. Instantly, I felt and heard a loud crack and I didn't have my phone on me. I looked at my leg and it was pretty gruesome. It truly was like my body was facing north, my foot was facing fully east, and my corgi Waldo jumps right into gear. He gave me a kiss on the cheek and he ran away, which is very out of character for him. Like, he's always by my side. And I see him in the distance tugging on a stranger's pant leg. Waldo starts barking and leading him toward me. Just as the stranger gets close enough, Waldo takes off in a different direction. And sure enough, Waldo comes around the corner moments later with our landlord and gave me another kiss on the cheek, almost to say, I feel like I'm back, I brought help. The fact that Waldo was able to take action so quickly really made it sure that the situation didn't get any worse than it already was. And, you know, Waldo hasn't left my side. He's been with me this entire time since I've come home. So not only is he cute and smart, but he's a hero too. Thanks, buddy.
I noticed she gave a little attention to her cat there, too.
Yes, exactly. Well, hey, give Waldo all the treats, to tell you what, this weekend. But if you're dog walking in Saskatchewan, well, not going to be a great weekend for it, unfortunately, because after all the snow we've got, well, the jet stream drops way to the south. We get some pretty frigid conditions moving in, especially Sunday night into Monday. Could see lows near -30 in a lot of the province before a bit of a reprieve on Monday. But for overnight, as we go Friday into Saturday here, many locations through the southern part of the province still staying warm, but again, this is where that snow is going to be. Again, 5 to 10 centimeters likely by Saturday. Northern Saskatchewan, that's where we're seeing those extreme cold warnings. So again, around -30, feeling into the -40s. And the cold front is just going to keep dropping southward through Saturday. So for the Churchill region, we'll get clearing skies, but things will be dropping back into the -20s. And for south and central, that front will begin to be noticeable in central Saskatchewan as we head around the noon hour with some clearing skies. For southern sections, still some snowfall, of course, especially in that southwest corner, before we see a similar drop in temperatures and a bit of a gusty day as well, Sam.
You say that with such a big smile on your face.
Might as well enjoy it.
It's true. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
That is it from us this week. For more news anytime, you can head to our website, cbc.ca/sask, or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely weekend.